how do you kind of keep the intensity and the focus up, specifically in the moments of like setbacks and hardships?
By not having success, especially financial or notoriety, validate anything in my life. Oh, you like that one?
Wow.
No, this is the biggest thing that people don't know about me. Like I always get scared when people are like, you're known for the grind and the hustle, because I know that there's a parallel to like burnout, and like I'm not even close to any of those things because I have incredible enjoyment in what I do, and I don't do it for the notoriety or the money. And more importantly, and you've gotten to know me through these years, it's just not my validation. I am much more associated to being nice and people knowing that to be true than I am to how many followers I have or how much money I have.
That is like, honestly, if there is one takeaway from this entire video today, I hope people listening at home can understand that their validation, it does not need to be through their financial successes and work commitments.
The reason, like, you know, like the people in my
work achievements.
Yeah, the people that are super closest to me, my family, and like the closest friends that go into family zones, they all know the truth, which is like, I'm crazy chill. I'm hyper when I communicate. Like I have high energy. Like
Because you're also passionate.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Right.
I'm happy because of my simplicity, which seems really crazy. I get it, because I am an entrepreneur and because I do have a lot of things going on. But the thing that I think works for me, and I see it in others, but to your point, the majority of my contemporaries are very different than I am. They are, unfortunately, in my opinion, because I worry about them, too wrapped up in achievement, money, status. I mean, the thing that, you know, this has been lately on my mind, maybe because I was in Miami for F1 and I watched it play out again. People are heartbroken when they don't get invited to the good party.
Yeah.
They're like crushed when they have to wait in line and they don't have, like people wearing all the bracelets. Like, and I'm like, man, high school plays forever.
Yeah.
I'm like, these people are some of the most successful, attractive, financially successful, status. You know, I know a lot of these people like have good families, have like great children, like, and they are like blowing a gasket. Or just, I can see the upsetness in their face because they weren't invited to Carbone Beach.
Right.
I mean, like, I love Jeff, but like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like, and social media has amplified that, but it hasn't changed that. I hate when people are like, we gotta blame social. Do we? Because my daddy's liquor store was not far from a town called Short Hills, New Jersey. And I watched all those people in Short Hills, New Jersey. When somebody got a new Mercedes, they needed to get a new Mercedes.
Right.
When somebody came into I watched people my whole life come in, buy a case of Opus One, and watch the next customer waiting and hear it because they know that person, and buy 2 cases of Opus One.
Right.
Like, it's been a flex show for life.
Right.
I'm really glad we're touching on this, and I do think, especially knowing how epic your audience is, I think this is gonna help some people. Like how am I handling it all?
Yeah.
Because if it all went away tomorrow, I'd be just fine. I don't need to take another selfie. I don't need to make another dollar. I was super, back to like, I got fortunate. And I'll say this as well for everyone who's listening. The greatest thing that ever happened in my life was I grew up with very little. I was born in the Soviet Union. I came here when I was little, but I was happy. And I was happy every day because I have an iconic all-time great mom. And you don't need those things to be happy. And so I was born and lived in a way where I knew that that wasn't a direct correlation.
Right.
A lot of people, my children included, will never know, is it the money or is it not?
Right.
And so you get caught up in this thing of like, oh, okay, like anytime I say like money doesn't buy happiness, the comments are littered with easy for you to say, and I'm like, you don't know me like that.
Right.
You don't know me. Like, easy for me to say because I've actually lived it, not because I have money now that, oh, by the way, I earned. And so I think for a lot of people, they don't know. And I think, you know, one of the great things of living a life where you go coast to coast in your journey is you know.
Right.
You know that there, like I have unlimited people that have hundreds of millions of dollars to their name and are deeply unhappy.
Yeah.
You know this.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate, we run in circles. We've been in places around the world and you see it and it's really sad, and I think it has everything to do, and I really appreciate both of you reacting the way you did. It's the one. You know, it's the one thing I need to make sure I communicate before I die, that if you are not and by the way, it's the same way I think about beauty. One of the biggest things I worry about is what parents affirm to children on their way up. If you are a human, and the first 20 years of your life, your parents, your relatives, and your classmates continue to give you validation because you are attractive, what do you think is going to happen when you're 50 and Father Time is starting to play its game? Of course you're going to go through some feelings. Of course you're going to probably over worry about that. You were taught that that's your validation, but that's the same thing about sports. You know how many people are great at sports and then don't make it into the professional realm and then really struggle with the transition because all their validation, it's the same way I think about straight A's. My biggest problem with school is if you keep telling a kid, you're great, you're great, you're great, because you're getting A's, the problem is the world doesn't work on A, B's, and C's. And so you have a lot of people in their 20s to 30s who struggle in life transition because all they've ever known is how to figure out a school system. That's what the world told them they were good for. And so I think as parents, we have to be careful of what we validate, which is why what my mom did for me is what I am passionate about doing for not only my children, but the world, which is like, let's validate on how we treat each other. My mom once lost her mind as if I won the Nobel Peace Prize because I'm visualizing it right now. I was less than 10 years old. I opened the door for an elderly woman to walk into a McDonald's in North Plainfield, New Jersey. You would have thought that I cured cancer. My mom spent the next 2 hours telling me why that was so great, why that is the thing, why you're the best. She called me golden hearted my whole life. Of course, I answered my question earlier about what I care about. It's what she instilled. I want to be known for how I treat people. Yeah, I mean, well, that's why sports is the best. You can't hide. You know, people hide in everything else. Even entrepreneurship. I love entrepreneurship because it's the closest, but you can still hide. I have an acquaintance who in their profile, it says on their Instagram, 3-time exiting entrepreneur. Looks fancy. In reality, because I know the situation, all 3 companies were a disaster.
Really?
Yep, all of the exits were M&A on a penny on the dollar. One was an acqui-hire. And one was bought after an obnoxious amount of funding for 4 cents on the dollar. So, but in Giannis's game, you can't hide. Like the Knicks lost last night. That's it. And this is why I've always loved sports, the merit. An Academy Award was a political decision behind the scenes by a group of people. So everything else besides sports in a lot of ways is merit-based, and that's why I've always loved it. Business is close, but to your point, I love that Giannis did that because there's so many comps to it. Like right now, a lot of people are realizing what athletes are dealing with because now everyone's putting themselves out there and they're getting commented about everything, about everything, about everything. And that's what athletes have always had to deal with. One bad night and everyone's got all sorts of things to say. Every one of us in this room right now, including these 2 lovely ladies who are dominating at their craft, we have bad days. You know, but it's hidden. You know, it's a very interesting human psychology conversation. I love that viral clip is going because I hope it helps people.